Good morning, everybody. What's that? That's my rooster. And because you speak English, which I hope you do, unless you're just watching these videos to look at my face, you probably heard cock-a-doodle-doo, but see, he's a French rooster, so what he actually said was cocorico. I actually named the rooster Little Loic because, like Big Loic, he won't shut up. And recently, Little Loic and I got into a heated debate over a big question. Do animals actually speak different languages? I think I would know more than a stupid animal if animals... Wait a second. And look, obviously we're not talking about, Dr. Dolittle style conversations, but rather the nuances of how humans interpret the sounds that our furry and feathery companions make. And also scaly and spiky and, well, actually skinny too. I mean, skinny as in it has skin like ours, furry, skinny, pigs aren't. Well, we're going off topic here. So, let's jump into the wild world of animal sounds around the world. And will you please stop making so much noise, Little Loic? I'm trying to make the video we talked about. Okay, here we go. Now, presumably, the sound of a cat looking for snacks on a Parisian street is the same as a cat roaming the streets of LA. So why don't all languages represent those meows in the same way? Well, it really just boils down to the mouth sounds that we're able to make. And apparently, Little Loic only knows how to make one sound, and it's starting to get a little old. Every language uses its own set of human sounds in its words. French R's sound like while Spanish R's sound like Each language also has rules about how to combine sounds and where they can go in words. For example, words in French often don't start with the combination th. They actually tend to struggle with the sound, which tends to sound more like z. Similarly, while English speakers can smoothly produce the sound in the middle or at the end of a word, no English word kicks off with this distinctive French sound. So, your language shapes what sounds you can make, but it also shapes which sounds you can hear, thus how you imagine animals sounding when they make the same noise. Alright, the rooster goes cock-a-doodle-doo. No, it does not. It goes cocorico. Aren't you a little old to be in kindergarten? I was held back. For what? My English. Right, okay, moving on. The cow goes moo. It's moo. The sheep goes bah. No, it's muff bah. Okay, Mr. Smarty Pants, what sound does the sea lion make? A sea lion? Do you mean a fuck? What did you just say? Cock-a-doodle-doo? Now let's look at how animals sound around the world. And some are actually very similar with just different writing. Most languages agree on the cat sound, for example. Germans say meow, the Italians say meow, the Chinese say meow, and Portuguese, Spanish, and Polish say meow. Also, almost every language agrees that B and Z are used in the buzz of bees. Now, in Arabic, ducks go whack whack, but in French, it's coin coin, which is quite different, but depending on the word you read as you hear it, it fits, which is kind of like the spinning ballerina illusion. It's all a matter of perspective and what you choose to see. At the end of the day, you can see the subtle similarities between different spellings and accents of the same sound. That's just because it comes down to how we express it across our individual languages using our culturally unique mouth sounds. Mouth sounds? You got it. Now, all of this boils down to the question that keeps me up at night. Do animals actually speak different languages? Come to think of it, my dog seemed pretty agitated the first few months we were in Paris and was not getting along with other dogs. I thought it was just a change of scenery, but maybe he was just getting used to Parisian dogs? Diego, sit. What is this sit you speak of? Speak French? Of course I do, you six-skulled buffoon. I am Parisian now. Oh, that's kind of harsh. Life is harsh, my two-legged friend. Assis? Couché? You want to go for une promenade? Well, as far as communicating with our dogs, if a dog in France is trained in French, then it will know French commands. Obviously, dogs don't understand actual words and their meaning, but they associate certain sounds to commands. Right? Well, sort of. In my search to answer this question, I found an interesting bit of info on animals speaking across their species. So, buckle up. I promise we will make it back to man's best friend. A little weak, the man's best friend refers to dogs and not roosters. Research suggests that most animals are born knowing how to speak their species' language with a little thing called instinct. It doesn't matter where those animals are born or raised because their speech seems primarily imprinted in their genetic code. In one study, they switched a pair of rhesus macaques and a pair of Japanese macaques shortly after birth so that the Japanese macaque parents raised the rhesus macaque babies and the rhesus macaque parents raised the Japanese macaque babies. This particular interspecies switcheroo showed some pretty shocking results. Researchers found that the two primate species communicate using most of the same sounds: coos, gruffs, barks, and screams, although they don't use them in the same context. Young rhesus macaques, for instance, tend to gruff during play, while Japanese macaques tend to coo. They found that foster parenting had little effect on the vocal patterns of the primates. The Japanese macaques continue to coo during playtime even though all their rhesus playmates were gruffing. This strongly suggests that macaques are born knowing when to coo, gruff, scream, or bark, and that life experience and social conditions do not impact their communication patterns. In other words, you can't teach a rhesus macaque to speak like a Japanese macaque. Most animal species are actually more like macaques than men. They're born knowing how to vocalize, and it doesn't matter where they're born. The implication being that macaques could only develop regional accents if they've lived apart for thousands of years, long enough for their speech patterns to diverge. Now, all of this is leading us to this exciting understanding of how animals learn their language. And now dogs, we're back, have been said to have lived long enough with humans that understanding human commands and words have been programmed into their genetic code. Dogs now have an innate capacity to interact with us through body language. Yeah. Some dogs have even been taught to understand more than 1,000 human words. They smart puppies. Most scientists agree, though, that dogs can only go so far as to understand individual words rather than full sentences. So instead of saying, "let's go for a walk," you could say, "walk grass outside," and they would essentially understand the same thing. Could you imagine if we could just talk like that instead of all that time wasted with formalities? I'm hungry. Food fridge. Cool. I could go on and on about how even in the animal kingdom, the language of curiosity knows no bounds, but little Loic and I have a chess match scheduled this afternoon. I feel like this is the one. Feel it. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this wild linguistic adventure. Don't forget to subscribe for new videos every week, and let me know in the comments what your favorite foreign animal sound is. Cocorico!